Standing up for fundamental rights and freedoms, that is the topic of tonight's byline. If there was any doubt that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance, then the last couple of days offered us plenty of concrete proof. Just last night on this show, we were celebrating the restoration of freedom of speech with the repeal of a truly horrible section of the Federal Human Rights Act. Yet even as that was going on, we were learning that the RCMP had been busting into homes and seizing guns in flood-ravaged High River, Alberta. The Mounties were going through homes, entering, they say, to make sure everyone was safe. Even, said one officer, looking for kitty cats. Look, I understand that the cops should be looking for people in distress, but the searches and seizures that happened days after the town was evacuated, well, that's not the same thing. This event, these seizures, happened this week. Alberta's Solicitor General Jonathan Dennis told Sun News earlier today that he witnessed the RCMP bringing in rifle after rifle into the local detachment on Tuesday during a site visit. Dennis also made clear that it was not the Alberta government which contracts the RCMP to provide police services across the province. He said it wasn't us that authorized this seizure.
Neither myself nor anyone in the government has any authority to direct police or RCMP in how to act in any specific situation. So it could not have come from our government. We should not have that authority because
the feds as well say that they never gave the order, which means that the police decided to do this for themselves. They decided that in an evacuated town that they needed to enter homes, and they admit to doing so by using force, and then seize guns that were unsafely stored. Those are their words. You know, until the cops busted down the door, those guns were properly and safely stored. I find it hard to believe that police would seize a large number of firearms, they now admit several hundred, that they found just laying around. Were they snooping in closets? Were they looking under beds? No, they say this was all in plain sight. Well, color me skeptical, but I'm not buying it. This was a violation of basic rights. Everyone needs to understand that this is a question of rights, basic civil rights, and the cops violated them. In the Magna Carta, the foundation of our legal system, it says, no free man shall be taken or imprisoned or seized or exiled or in any way destroyed, nor will we go upon him nor send upon him except by the lawful judgment of his peers or by the law of the land. Notice it doesn't say, unless there's a flood going on. The Charter of Rights puts it a little more plainly. It says everyone has the right to be secure against unreasonable search or seizure. Here's the thing. The law of the land, the highest law of the land, is there to protect us from government overreach. And it's not just meant to apply when the sun is shining or the birds are singing. It's meant to apply at all times. In 1760, William Pitt the Elder, the Prime Minister of Great Britain at the time, he expressed it like this. The poorest man may in his cottage bid defiance to all force of the crown. It may be frail, its roof may shake, and the wind may blow through it. The rain may enter. The storms may enter, but the King of England may not enter. All his forces dare not crush the threshold of the ruined tenement. Yet the RCMP, they entered and they seized. Were they targeting certain homes? Their own videos show that they didn't go into every home. Their own video shows that they don't enter every home with a locked door, that they knock, they listen, and then move on. But other homes had their doors busted down. We need to know whether the police were using databases, an old copy of the long gun registry, or some other information to select and target homes. It's simply unbelievable that several hundred firearms were lying around in plain sight and therefore seized because police looked in the front window and saw them lying there. It cannot be believed. It cannot stand the way it is. The RCMP need to answer more questions, and someone needs to be punished. And that's the byline.
Information I have at this time is that there have been several hundred firearms secured for public safety reasons by the RCMP. The security of the firearms was done when they were in plain view and done only for safety reasons.
Color me skeptical, but I'm not buying. Not when you say that hundreds were seized and they're all in plain view. It doesn't happen that way. That was from the update at High River, Alberta earlier today. Angry residents have been gathering for the last couple days, wanting to know when they're going to get in. Also angry at finding out that their stuff has been taken by the people that are sworn to protect their stuff. Mark Patrone with Sun News has been standing out there all day in the hot sun and hearing from people. And Mark, what's the mood been like over the days you've talked to people about both things? One, a lot of them just want to get in and see what their homes are like, but also the Mounties taking their stuff.
Yeah, and not just stuff, they're taking away their firearms. But I mean, just imagine you're in your house, you're ordered to leave because floodwaters are going to be coming very quickly, so you take whatever goods you can. Except you remember that you happen to have a few firearms in the basement. So you go down, you take them out of their locked drawer or wherever they are, and you take them upstairs. What do you do with them in order to protect them? Do you leave them on the table? Do you leave them on the kitchen counter? It just seems a little bizarre. So I think the thing to look out for now is maybe to hear back from some of those residents who say, well, wait a minute, my firearm was confiscated by police, and I certainly didn't leave it in open view. I had it, you know, under the bed, or I had it some other location.
Put it in the back of the bedroom closet.
It was clear from the pictures that we saw, the RCMP video, that the police went in there with an intent to search and seize. They weren't in there to, you know, have a quick look around and leave. I mean, they were in there to do what they needed to do, which was to seize things which they considered potentially dangerous. Now, another interesting point that I just want to throw in here, Brian, is that they did smash their way in a few places. I did speak to a few people who were upset when they heard that their house didn't have a door left, that in fact the police forced their way in and didn't care too much about closing the door after they left. So they took what they needed to take and then couldn't even be bothered closing the front door.
Well, and if you're worried about looters, busting down the door opens everything up to looters. And I would think that most people would lock their door before they headed out. Most people lock their doors, even in a small town like High River. Most people lock their doors, so you're leaving, you don't know when you're coming back, you're going to lock it.
Now, there probably wasn't too much of a worry about looters for the simple reason that everybody was subject to the evacuation order. The entire town was ordered to leave. Now, granted, not everybody obeyed that order. Some people hung around for the entire time. In fact, there are still people there. There was between 200 and 300 people, some of whom had to actually be rescued when they ran out of supplies, maybe when they ran out of, you know, ammunition, for all I know. I don't know. But,
okay.
But clearly, the police have been busy. I mean, I don't want to take too big a strip off them, because that is a huge job. And when you're in this town,
we got
I went in on a tour with the military, so yeah.
We got about 30 seconds left, so give me a 10-second synopsis. People start going back in tomorrow, and then how long till everybody's back?
Okay, they start going in tomorrow. Now, bear in mind that 20% of the town is in reasonable shape, and so presumably 20% of the population can go back and sort of start rebuilding. But 80%, it's going to happen in dribs and drabs. That was part of the plan, that it's going to happen piecemeal, meaning that, you know, it might be 50 people one week, it might be 100 people the next. But remember, there are 13,000 people in this town, so it's going to take a long time to get everybody back in town.
All right, Mark, thanks so much for being there today. Thanks for listening, and we'll chat again soon.